Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Now in this one, I'm gonna be testing to see how well will an RTX 4060 and an i5-10400F CPU and 32 gigs of DDR4 hold up against the newest games on the market. To start off, the first game I tested was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now this game is quite VRAM hungry, so I've used medium settings and the DLSS set to quality. But even at medium settings, this game is quite VRAM hungry, and almost all the VRAM on this video card is maxed out, 8 gigs, as you can see on top left corner. Now the reason the game doesn't go above 72 frames is because I've set up a maximum frame rate in the Nvidia control panel. The game is less jittery, and the experience while playing this game in particular is much improved with a frame lock. In this intensive area, the GPU is literally maxed out on VRAM, but it has no trouble keeping up a steady FPS number, 69 in this case. The average is at around 69, while the 1% low is about 47. So yeah, this game is a good experience on medium settings if you own this video card. Moving on to the next game list. Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I'm using high settings with DLSS set to quality and the frame lock at 75. Testing the opening part of the game here. The opening area is certainly one of the most intensive parts of this game, with the frames jumping around 55, 64, 67. The frame lock certainly helps here because in some places it could jump from 70 to 100 and then back to 60, so the frame time would be all over the place. In this more of a wooden area with ruins at the beginning, the game is keeping an average of 72 frames, which is quite good on this title. I mean, this is not an FPS for which you need hundreds of FPS to be competitive, so yeah. The experience on this game with this GPU is a good one. Moving to a newer title using the Unreal Engine 5, which is Horizon Forbidden West. I've set the preset high settings with DLSS set to quality. In this part of the game, in the jungle with lots of vegetation, lots of reflections going on, foliage, the game is maintaining an average of around 67, 68 FPS, sometimes dropping to 61, 62, although I've never seen this game go below 50, 56, 55 maybe. But yeah, it's quite a beautiful game, so should not be any kind of a surprise that it's quite intensive graphically. Path of Exile 2 runs pretty good on the RTX 4060. Here with a frame lock at 90, the game is maintaining a steady FPS, sometimes dropping down 66, 67, but in general, it's a smooth experience, and the game is still in its early access phase. There are some micro stutters here and there, but nothing that is quite game breaking. Next game in line is Alan Wake 2. Tested here on the medium settings with textures set to high and a few other options set to high using DLSS quality mode. The starting area of Alan Wake 2 is one of the most intensive areas of this title. The frames are in the 50s range. There's so much vegetation in this area, so the game is quite intensive on the GPU side. But using frame gen gives a nice boost of around 30 frames. Also introduces some input lag, but the frames go up into mid-80s. But yeah, I had a good experience playing this game. So let's move to our next game, Assassin's Creed Mirage. We're running the very high settings here with the in-game benchmarking tool. The 4060 has no trouble maintaining an average of above 90 frames per second. There are some dips here and there. Maybe it's due to the fact that the CPU is not one of the best ones out there at this point in time. But yeah, make no mistake, this GPU can handle most titles at a decent enough frame, even though its 80 gigabytes of RAM is starting to become obsolete. In Stalker 2, I'm using DF's optimized settings, which includes medium-sized textures and some of the lighting quality settings set to high or epic. Yeah, runs fairly well in the open world areas, even when there are gunfights going on. In this particular area where I'm fighting some people here, yeah, it's pretty smooth. Not great, not terrible. Except in this village here, where the frame rates just won't go above 60. But as soon as I leave this area, the frame rates go up. Nah, just looking at that particular area makes the frame rates drop to 50. So maybe there's a bug or something going on there. God of War Ragnarok, certainly an intensive title. I'm setting up the RTX 4060 with high quality. Here in the wetlands part of the game, the frames are consistently above 60 FPS most of the time. There are some moments in a fight or when there's many effects going on the screen, it would sometimes dip a bit below 60, but not by much, like 58, 59. VRAM consumption is not that high compared to the previous games like Stalker 2 or Indiana Jones. But yeah, the game looks nice, and it certainly is a title that the RTX 4060 can handle very well. Starfield is the next title on the list. Now I've set up this game with the preset high settings, and the only thing that I changed was the upscaling. I'm setting up DLSS with quality settings because with TAA the game to me looks a bit blurry or something like that. In the outdoors and on random planets, the game is maintaining an average of above 60 FPS, sometimes even the high 80s. In this particular instance, it's just 81. But once you get inside, the frames go up to 100, 100, 110. Yeah, the indoor section pose no issue for the RTX 4060. The more intensive area of this game is the New Eden hub or city, where using just DLSS without frame gen, the FPS hovers between 50 and 60. Enabling frame gen though makes the FPS go even to 100, so that's a positive, at least in this title. Frame gen introduces just a bit of an input lag, although this is a single player game, should not be that important to you. Moving to Silent Hill 2, I've used the preset high quality, this time without the DLSS. Here in the intro section of Silent Hill 2, the RTX 4060 and the i5-10400F are maintaining an above 60 frames per second. Again, the wooded areas are the most GPU intensive parts, even in this game, so I'm testing it to see how well the RTX 4060 performs here. Yeah, the frames are typically above 60 with minor 1% lows dropping to a cinematic 24 FPS. But that doesn't happen too often. This game is intensive, but not as intensive as the last game I'm gonna test in this video. Hellblade 2. A particularly intensive title. I'm using the high quality preset along with the DLSS set to quality, and the FPS jumping around high 50s to 60. Yeah, the frame rate is certainly lower than some other titles, but the graphics are quite exceptional. So that wraps up my benchmarking of the RTX 4060. So what do you think? Is this GPU gonna hold up in 2025? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.